Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be updating my 23andMe results since my last video a year ago, I think it is. The results have been more specified and some percentages have changed, so I wanted to do an updated version of this. If you guys weren't aware, I did do the 23andMe kit and found out the kind of composition of the person that I am, and more specifically giving me an idea of the history of the Chamorro people who are native to the Mariana Islands here in the Pacific. I've always and will always identify as a Chamorro. That's who I am, but what that breaks down to and finding the commonality between a lot of people of Chamorro heritage is definitely my main interest, and seeing the breakdowns of people who identify as Chamorro as well. If you are interested in my original video, I will be linking that down in the description box below, and if I remember, I will link it up in the cards. So I am 100% Annabelle, that's for sure. So East Asian and Native American is my biggest breakdown, and that is 76.7%. That is further broken down into different categories, and that starts out with the Chinese and Southeastern Asian, which is broken down into 68.2%, and that's further broken down into 61.9% Filipino and Austronesian. By the way, this is why I want to do the updated video, because I've learned so much in the comment sections from my previous video. I am genuinely interested in ancestry and kind of the reasons why things might have turned out the way that they did. So I'm not particularly sure why Filipino and Austronesian is separated, and so if you know, I would really appreciate the information, but that is 61.9%. Something that throws me off is that in the previous results I had Guam and Northern Marianas as a high match, where now it's not a match at all and it just says Philippines. I know my parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents were here on island and in Guam, so I'm not sure why that change is, but I know that my family was in the islands, so I'm not sure why that is. I'm 2.2% Indonesian Thai. I think it's pronounced Mer and Myanmar. That used to be 6%. Why it went down, I have no idea, but it's only 2.2 now. And then 4.1 broadly Chinese and Southeastern Asian. Native American is 4.5, so close to what it used to be. Japanese and Korean, it's placed together, and that is 2.1. And then broadly East Asian and Native American is 1.9. Moving down to European. European is 15.2%, and the biggest chunk of that being Southern European at 12%. 8.1 of that is specified to be Spanish and Portuguese, so the Iberian area, and then 3.9 broadly Southern European. And I'm still pulling that Spanish because of the Spanish occupancy. From what I remember people saying, with the trade routes in Mexico, Spain was there first, and you know, they kind of mixed with the people from there, which might explain my Native American and Spanish heritage. This is why I said I learn a lot from you guys in the comments. Ashkenazi Jewish, 0.4%. I think the last time it was 0.6. That's nothing, but it is worth noting that it has changed. Northwestern European, 0.2. and then broadly European 2.6. So that is my European breakdown. Next we have Central and South Asian at 2.8. If memory serves me correct, in the previous results it didn't have a breakdown, where this one does. So Central Asian, Northern Indian, and Pakistani is at 1.7. and 1.2 of that is Bengali and Northern Indian, and then 0.5 is broadly Central Asian, North Indian, and Pakistani. I remember wondering what exactly or where exactly it came from, and to have a little bit more of a specific idea, it's pretty cool. And then 1.1 of that is broadly Central and South Asian. Western Asian and North African, 1.3%. 0.7 of that is North African without any specifications underneath it. And then I have Northwest Asian at 0.4%, and that is specified to be Cypriot. I don't know how to pronounce that, but basically I looked it up. I wasn't sure. I had an idea it might have been Cyprus, but I wanted to make sure. It isn't even a percent, but the fact that it can be specified with just that amount of percentage, I found interesting. Hey, cool. I don't know. And then 0.2 broadly Western Asian and North African. I don't think I had North African in the last one, so I really don't recall this. So I found it quite interesting that I had some lineage there, and one of them being able to be identified. So I found that one pretty cool in the update. And then Sub-Saharan African at 0.5. I think it was 0.6 in the last one, and it stayed the same at 0.5 being Congolese and Southern East African. Interesting thing is that my unassigned is 3.5 now, where I believe it was like 2.2 at one point. So I guess 1.3% of it was questionable. And another interesting thing is that I'm not Melanesian anymore. What is that? I used to be able to see the Melanesian, and now it's not here. What happened? I have no idea. Now, I would like to talk a little bit about the comparisons I've seen with other people who are of Chamorro ancestry, and some people I have relations to that are more of Filipino descent. I think our cultures are very similar, and you know, with the occupancy of the Spanish, we share a lot of similarities that way. I found that a lot of Chamorro people, we had more similar ancestry results as opposed to people that I have relations to from the Philippines. And again, the reason I'm sharing it is because I would like someone who's a little bit more knowledgeable of it to share the information with me. But I found that, you know, when it came to the Filipino and Austronesian portion, I'm 61.9%, and I found that most Chamorro people were between like 70 to about 85% Filipino, give or take. And with Native American, mine being 4.5, it was usually about like 2% to about like 4% I would find most people being Native American. And when I compare it to relatives whose parents are both from the Philippines, they would have a much higher Filipino and Austronesian percentage, you know, usually in the 90s for most of them, like upper 80s and 90s, and they would have like little to no Native American ancestry. And so I found that kind of interesting, considering that trade routes, I believe, kind of were the same. They went to the Philippines and they went to our islands. And so the difference in that I found a little more interesting. More so the Native American. I kind of understand the Austronesian because the routes that people took to get to our islands isn't necessarily the same as the Philippines. But I just thought that with having people from Mexico and the whole Spanish occupancy, we would see a little bit more similarity in the Native American department. It doesn't show up all that much for people who are from the Philippines. So if you can explain that, I would really love to know. Same thing goes with the European. I think this was the most interesting in that people that I saw from the Philippines, again, you know, with the workers that came, the trade routes and all of that, I would think that we would share similar Spanish heritage, but a lot of the relatives that I have, and I don't know them, but they would specify that their parents were from the Philippines, they would have like barely any Spanish heritage. I would see stuff like 0.9% and maybe upwards of 2-3%. And I found that to be more of like the range. Obviously some would have a little bit more, but if we're talking an average, it was significantly less from my relatives who were either from Guam or from the Northern Mariana Islands. My Southern European heritage is 12%. I would say that most people that I found within the Mariana Islands were averaging about maybe like 6 to to 10%. And so there is kind of this difference in average when it comes to the Spanish bloodline. So if someone can explain to me why that is different from Philippines and here, in terms of why the percentages might not be the same. Because to me, in my head, it's like we should be very similar in composition. Maybe that's me being ignorant, but if you know the explanation for it, I truly would love to know. So yes, those are my updated results. Again, I'm so happy I found the breakdown for my South Asian and being Western Asian and North African. That's pretty cool. But where did my Melanesian go? Why am I kicked out of my Melanesian ancestry? So there we have it. That is the updated results. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's always exciting to see new updates. And those of you who are knowledgeable of all of this, like ancestry, genealogy, I would love to get your input. I've learned so much from people who have commented, and I truly do appreciate the time that you take to write out those comments. Thank you guys for joining me in this video. If you guys like the makeup look, as it is originally a makeup channel, then you can check me out on Instagram. First link in the description box down below, where I will post a photo of the makeup look along with a list of products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye guys.